This is the Red All Over reaction show to yesterday's 2-2 draw against Northampton. So, we're going to speak about yesterday's game. We're going to look forward to Bolton at the weekend. And I feel like something else might have happened in between there as well. Oh, of course, the transfer window shuts on Monday. And there's a little bit of news to speak about there as well. So, we're discussing the transfer window as a whole, looking back at Northampton, and then looking forward to Bolton. Let's get stuck into it. Right. Firstly, after the dust has settled on this transfer window, I've got a little question to ask to the Barnsley board. If there's anybody on that board who would like to come on our show, you are invited on to come and explain what is going on at the minute. Just to provide some clarity to fans alike, because I think at the minute, as a fan base as a whole, everyone is struggling to understand what direction we're going in. So anyone from the board, John Flatman, anybody at all who's associated with the board, feel free to get in contact with us. All of us Twitter handles are on screen, and also there's Red All Over BFC as well. If anyone wants to get in contact with us, let us know. We're more than happy to have you on the show. Right, Craig, we'll start with you for this transfer window. As a whole, so players that we've brought in, Scott Banks, Ewan O'Connell, Owen Goodman, and there's someone else that slipped my mind that's going straight out of me.
Charlie Lennon.
Yes, Charlie
Charlie
Lennon as
Lennon
well.
and Tawanda, I can't pronounce his surname. Tawanda.
Chirawa? Yeah, I think
The
Chirawa.
winger from Wolves. The winger from Wolves as well. Players that have gone out, Ferrugia, obviously DKD sold on deadline day. Oh, Tom Brodshaw came in as well. DKD on deadline day as well. And
Russell.
Russell on loan to Mansfield for the rest of the season. Lapata back out on loan after coming back and then going back out again. And O'Keefe was going back from Stockport as well. How do you feel about the transfer window?
I was fine up until last day. What has stunned me is the fact is we've had no pre-plan for if we had an agreeable bid for Davis Keeler done. We should have had a plan in place of said strikers that we all know Connor wanted. He wanted more than one, and that was when Davis was staying. So I really think, even though I still hold the same opinion I did in the last video, where I think Connor's probably going to get sacked. I don't think they've helped him out at all. I think Charlie Lennon's come in and look, it looks a good prospect. They all do. They all do on highlight packages. Nobody knows what he's really like. So that I'll have to leave right now for where it is. But up until that last day, I thought it's okay. From what I've seen of Goodman, I think is a downgrade on what we had. Ewan O'Connell coming in, I was ecstatic over that. I think that's a brilliant signing. Corey O'Keefe coming back, I'm more than happy with, and I was when he first come back. Bradshaw coming in, I like Bradshaw. I liked him when he was here before. I know he wasn't your best player, Josh, but I loved his endeavour, his work rate, and his ability to always be in the box. So I want to bother about him coming in. I want looking down on that, and then Davis left. And then I was like, right, there's 2 hours left. You should have foreseen this coming. When we get the news, there's 2 hours left. When they get the news that a bid's coming in, I bet it's a lot sooner than that. So they should have already had some players in a list, right? If this amount of money comes in, this is what we're going for. Because you don't need the player to physically be in your building to sign them. You just need to have faxed over a sheet of paper with a signature on it, and then you can do the.
We're not very good with fax machines, though, Craig.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We've moved on electronically from fax machines, Craig.
I think you've really just. This is by far the worst season we've had in a long time. Just on where we are in the table. And I think it just shows the ambition of the club that they've not spent any money again. It's the failure to prepare for players that might be leaving. You've now left us with 321s and Connell to play in central midfield, who are actually meant to be central midfielders. So there's Nathan, Kelly, Bland, and Connell. Because Enwick Carley's, God knows what's happening with him because we've heard nothing. And I think that is as big a mistake as letting Keeler done without an adequate replacement in my book. I think you need to have some experience in there to be able to do things.
Go away.
I go to the old adage: you can't win anything with kids. And although I think Bland is a really good prospect and really good player, and so is Kelly, I think they're both going to be really good players. At the minute, they need people to learn off, and at the minute, there's only Connell, and I think he's being drowned in the weight of that because of his current performances. You know, there's nobody coming to help him. You know, I'm glad Phillips is back. Again, we'll come on to yesterday's game, but Nathan for me looked so far out in his depth. It's unreal. I want him to go back out on loan. That's what I wanted. So if I were going to score this winter transfer window, I'd probably say a 3, if that, and that's being really positive on the positive end. That's me getting the loan players back. I think Banks is a really good incoming player. I think he's going to like give us more options when it comes to that wide area. Because at the minute, I'm sick of seeing central midfielders being played there. You know, I don't know about this guy from Wolves. I've not seen him play. I've not heard great things from Huddersfield fans, but you know, different players at different clubs can play at different levels. So, but I mean, the 26 goals that Keeler's done were on track to score. Who is going to come in and fill that void? You're telling me that Bradshaw and McGoldrick between them are going to get 26 goals this season? Personally, I can't see it myself. You know, I think it's going to be a struggle. I think we're going to be battling with relegation. I don't think we'll get relegated, but I think it's going to be damn close. And it's a lot closer than I'm comfortable with. And I think they've really dropped the ball. And all we're going to get from the club now is next window. Next window we'll spend money. Next window, it's been next window for about 6 windows now. Next window we'll get the players in we need. Next window we'll spend the money, and they never do. So for me, I mean it's horrific.
No, I think Dean, building on what Craig said there, sort of the next window. The one part of I understand of not sort of going and dropping a couple of million quid to replace DKD right at the last minute is you're going to have to pay through the nose to replace him because whoever we go and sign knows that we need to replace, as Craig said there, a striker that's on track for 26 goals. So if we went and dropped a couple of million quid on Jatta, for example, from Notts County, because they're not going to want to sell their assets either, so they're going to be asking for an inflated price. Whereas in the summer, I suppose you can get more with that amount of money. But as Craig said there, of at last, I think that's 3 windows now. We've not spent a penny.
No, absolutely. I mean, the window overall, I'm pretty much in agreement with Craig. The one thing, well, 2 or 3 things actually. One is that with loans in and out, we've actually released 10 players in this window. And we've brought 7 in total, including O'Keefe. Now, this is a squad that apparently was light leading into the window. So actually, we're a net 3 less than we were before. Now, yeah, I agree. I think some of the signings look pretty good. I mean, Banks has been signed from a Bundesliga 1 club, so you would expect him to have certain qualities that other people haven't got, and he certainly has got that, and that looks positive. I mean, the poor lad was absolutely worn out without going into the Northampton game, having played 2 pretty much 90 minutes in 4 days, not having played that much football at Blackpool. So I think on the striking front, I mean, obviously massive disappointment. One thing that really worries me is that apparently, by all accounts, including Doug O'Kane, saying that we were in for John McAtee. Whether you like John McAtee or you don't like John McAtee, we were in for him, and they turned us down at the 11th hour. Now, I don't understand why we didn't go for John McAtee at the very beginning of the window, on the basis that DKD was pretty obvious going. I mean, it got so many suitors, it was worth taking a risk. Now, John McAtee at the beginning of January was on the subs bench and rarely got on the pitch. And in fact, Schumacher was talking in fairly, not specifically about him, but the need to increase their firepower at that time. So I thought, oh, well, maybe John McAtee may be available. But since then, in the last couple of 3 weeks, he's actually got into the side and he's creating, he's scoring, he's assisting. So obviously, they've turned around and said at the 11th hour, well, no, actually, he's an important part of our setup now. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know, obviously, the inside, that had we gone for him at the beginning of January, we would have got him. And then, you know, and then if Bradshaw was a backup kind of striker, then suddenly it was looking a lot better. As I say, whether you like McAtee or you don't like McAtee or what he brings. But that to me smacks of mismanagement rather than anything else. Now, or it smacks of we have so little money that we cannot afford to risk bringing somebody in with the outside chance that we won't be keeping DKD. Or rather, the outside chance that we will be keeping DKD. And so, I mean, that is just, it makes you feel very despondent about where we're at as a club. Not necessarily that, you know, they haven't reinvested DKD's money. As you say, Josh, they couldn't possibly have done anyway. In the 2 hours that they had available to them at the very end of the window. But they could have took a risk at the beginning of the month, knowing that we were chronically short of a striking force. So that's where I am. I mean, I wouldn't put the window. I mean, O'Connell looks as good a defender as we've got in the club now, frankly, after Tuesday night. Yeah, you could argue maybe he got beaten in the air when he shouldn't have done for their second goal. I don't know about that. But other than that, he was immaculate. And similarly last Saturday. And he's barely played, and yet he's playing 90 minutes. So I think that's a good sign in Banks, as I say. O'Keefe coming back and been given another chance. I think that's a good thing. But overall, the worries still are there in terms of our financial situation, and I can only give this window, I give it marginally more than Craig, because they have created some room by releasing 10 players. So I'll give it 4 out of 10.
3 and a 4 out of 10. Andy, we've now got a strike force with a combined age of 71.
That's Andy's age.
And Tom Bradshaw.
Just let me be up front on my own then.
It's almost like I planned it like that, isn't it? To mention that. But
thank God we signed Bradshaw at 33. If he'd have been 32, you'd have been gutted, even more than you are.
It really would have ruined my segue of bringing it in.
I know.
But as Craig and Dean have said, Connor said he wanted a pacey striker before we even sold DKD. And then we've gone and brought a 33-year-old Tom Bradshaw that's, I think, scored 8 in about 4 years. And has had a very patchy injury record since he left us. He's had a good season at Millwall, well, a good season and a half, and then he seems very almost injury riddled since then.
You see, we got to remember that when we signed Bradshaw in the summer that we went up against Millwall, he was a sought after striker, and we did really, really well to get him. But it's 10 years, it's nigh on 10 years ago now. And he was sought after, one of the best strikers in League One, and since then he's been in the Championship, and he's has good times and not so good times. So back down to League One, and hopefully well, you would hope that he's got the nous that we could do with. There's no two ways about it. It's not the quick, strong striker that Conrad said he wanted at the start, well, just before or at the start of the transfer window. And I think for me, it would have been a pretty decent transfer window if we'd have got another striker in and kept DKD. You know, got because we were talking about it, getting two strikers in, one experienced and one young that's quick and nippy and will get in behind defences. That's what we wanted. So it weren't looking too bad. We had an upgrade in defence with O'Connell coming, and in my personal view, an upgrade on the right wing with Banks instead of, you know, good luck to him, but instead of Ferrugia, who for me flattered to deceive, and other people liked him. I weren't particularly keen. But neither of them have played much, and they've been expected to play 90 minutes Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, and it showed. It showed towards the end. I know we'll come on to that. We'll come on to the Northampton match, so I'll not talk about that further. So I thought it were a pretty decent transfer window. I think we, as time will tell even more perhaps, unless things change, we downgraded with the goalkeeper because I thought a big strong lad, he'll come out and command his area, which have been crying out for. I'm sick of people dancing on the line. And yet, you know, they were, for their equaliser, there were one header and then another header within our 6 yard box. And I'm doing this. I'm doing this online. He just knocked it past me. And I think, well, I'll talk about that at the game. I think that's a downgrade. Goalkeeper's a downgrade. So I don't think it would. I don't think it were too bad. I'd give it a 6, to be honest, or maybe a 7 if we'd have got another striker. But as it's turned out, we've not got, you know, for a club that needed one, probably two strikers, we've got rid of one of the top scorers in this division. He's gone. He probably wanted to go, and you know he'll earn a lot more money at Wrexham, and you know for that I wish him well. But for me, if we let him go, and I'm going to assume that he wanted that to happen late on in this window rather than early on. We were already planning to look at strikers because we needed strikers to back up DKD and McGoldrick. And they weren't forthcoming. They just weren't forthcoming. And as it trolled on, people were getting more and more worried about it, including me. And then, as Dean said, and I think I stuck up with him, on Saturday, it looked pretty clear that DKD was saying goodbye. So that was Saturday. I don't know when it was decided that he could go. But I've seen, you know, throughout the transfer window in lots of divisions, that clubs have been saying to players, you can go if we can get a suitable replacement. Now, you know, there's a balance between saying, you know, if somebody wants to sign elsewhere, somebody wants to leave, then do you want them to play at your club if they don't want to be there? But there's also the bit that says if we can't get an adequate replacement, and much as I don't mind Tom Bradshaw, is not a replacement in my head, it were an additional thing. You say, unless we get a replacement, Davis, you're not going. It's as simple as that. You're not. We can't afford to go into these last number of matches with combined 71-year-old. I know how it takes. We can't afford to do that. So to say we've blown it, let's be right, we've blown it. Now it could well be. It could well be. You know, Dean were there at the fan meeting. John Flatman was, I think, unless you tell me different, Dean, quite honest in saying instead of all this bull about you know top six club and we've got a competitive budget and we can do this and we can do that. I think John said in terms of finance, player wages and player, you know, and all that, we're 13th in this league. So that's presuming that's right. That's a level of honesty that I like because let's not pretend otherwise. Now, for me, if there's no more money, now it might well be like years and years ago we had to sell. Well, we sold David Hurst to Sheffield Wednesday because we had to, because otherwise we'd have gone out of flipping business. If we had to sell DKD because we needed the money so we could keep going, then be honest. Tell us how much, because Radio Sheffield is saying 2 million and add-ons. Other people saying no, it's 4 million. So I have no idea. I'm going to go with 2 million because Radio Sheffield said, and they wouldn't tell fibs, would they? They wouldn't just do it for clickbait, would they? Radio Sheffield, to be honest, wouldn't they? Would they? I don't know. If it's because we need it to keep the club going, then say it. Just say that. Just say, get all your sins. It's that. There's no more money. Now, if that's the thing, if there's no ambition, there's no more money, then I'll accept that. But I'd also say, if there's no more money, start looking round for somebody that'll buy the club or ask people for offers who will have the money to take us forward. 'Cause it's looking like nobody's going to put any more money into this club. They've taken as far as they can. That's what you hear lots of times, isn't it? Give somebody else a chance if there's somebody out there and there's no more money. Ambition ain't just talking. If you can't afford to do any more, that's fine. But just be honest and say, we can't. We've done as best. Not always that competent, but we've done as best, and we'll let somebody else have a go and see if there's somebody else that's willing. If they're in, then they're in. But you don't know unless you ask the question. So I think we're getting to that stage. I've stopped looking at some of the social media because it got ridiculous on transfer window day, and it got even more ridiculous. I stopped looking at it yesterday and this morning because it just got ridiculous after the Northampton game. I thought I can't, it's doing me in. I can't listen to any more negativity. So I just think if you can't do any more, then move on.
Transfer window rating out of 10?
It were a 7, but going down to a 5 because of the last 2 days. Because I think just tell him no. Others do it. Bolton said to McAtee, apparently, no, you're not going. We're not selling you. No, you're not going. Do the same. Think of the club. It's nice to think of him, increase his wages and all that. It's a lovely move for DKD financially. I don't know how often he'll play. Maybe he'll play a lot and get him in Premier League. I hope he does. I wish him all the best. But without an adequate replacement, just say no.
So you've got a 3, 4, and a 5. I'm going to go 1 on the basis of in this summer, what have we got left?
I've just been looking at the numbers.
If you look at the back four that started last night and the goalkeeper, the Shepherd, who's not out of contract or on loan till the end of the season.
Well, we've currently got 23
technically Shepherd is out of contract. So we've got an option year on him this year. So technically he's out of option. So we like in reality, if we didn't
make it sound worse then, Josh. I'm clutching. I'm
but
clutching.
No,
Make it sound worse then.
That's where I'm at with it because there's no layering whatsoever in this squad. There's a lot of plasters over really, really, really leaky
Two
pipe.
strikers and all.
Every single signing we got in is leaving in June, at the end of June, because O'Connell's contract's up because we only give him a 6-year deal and not rest for loans. Right, we've got 12 players out of contract. We've got 12 players leaving end of year. Whether that's if we don't pick up the options, we've only got a 23-man squad. We've got 7 coming back from those, so that's a total of 18 left going into next season that'll be under contract. And that's a lot of players like Andy Dallas, Max Waters, Jackson Smith, who I think should be in we shout, Casper Lapata, players we've not even thought of for years.
Get Dallas back.
Some of them players within that as well, Andy Dallas and Waters, they're also contracts are up end of year.
Yeah.
Their contracts are up as well. So even the players that come back, we've got about 13 players under contract. And that's the big gripe for me this transfer window is absolutely no layering whatsoever. Because the thing I don't understand is you've brought Banks in to improve the 11. Kelly's improved the 11. Rayclere's improved the 11. In terms of transfer windows of this season, we've brought in some all right players that have come in, which I understand if you're going to back Connor and back the ability to use his games in hand to then go and get promoted or go and have a go at the playoffs. Because I think we could have got a very similar fee for DKD in the summer than what we would have got now. I don't think we made Wrexham pay through the nose like we would have done to replace him because everyone knows that we're desperate. I don't think Wrexham was super desperate for him. To be honest, I still understand the transfer from Wrexham's perspective. Realistically,
to play with 2 10s and 1 striker, so he covers all 3 positions.
I don't understand it because we should have wanted an extreme amount of money for him, and I think they could have got someone either a loan him from the Premier League or someone in the same league as them that might be of a similar. Because I know Wrexham fans aren't mega excited by the signing. The other thing as well that
makes it a lot better.
the other thing that over the DKD thing is DKD said in his press conference, there's been rumours of this for weeks, which from that point on, them rumours they're not just ringing DKD directly and saying we're interested. The board have known for a week or two about this. DKD's girlfriend put on social media that on Saturday he was booked in for a medical Monday morning at 7 o'clock, and he went down to Wrexham the day before, and then she was going down to meet him. So at least in that we knew the day before that we were going for a medical. So that has really progressed in terms of deals and contracts and things. And the fact that the best we could do is Tom Bradshaw on a 6-month loan to replace that, it's not good enough. Like if
You see, I think it's I think the DKD bit's a bit of a red herring, really, because we were looking for strikers anyway, and we haven't got any of at line. And then that's just like the kick in the teeth, isn't it? That he wants to go, he goes down for a medical, and we say, "Aye, all right then, off you go. Go on then."
That's what makes it the 2 million. I don't surely in my head, I'm like, surely it can't be 2 million because we must. If it's been going on for a few weeks, you assume there's a bit of back and forth in it.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of apparently Middlesbrough are a bit interested. Bristol City are apparently interested. Wrexham were interested. I don't know if that's just agent talk trying to drum up a little bit more for himself than anything else. But yeah, for me, a 1 because there's no foreplanning. It's all just to try and fix this season. And to me, it seems like a survival mode rather than trying to progress. Like,
I can't see us getting any better though, because we've seen over the past few years their unwillingness to spend any money whatsoever. It's like owning a shop, expecting customers in the door without stocking the shelves. And that's the analogy that I use, and I think it represents best what is going on at Barnsley. We've got a few rotten apples down there. We've got some dusty corner over there, but we're still wanting everybody to come to the stadium and watch games. People are just going to stop.
Ironic,
it's really annoying.
Ironic part for me is a player that we spent money on is a player that's just become his most sellable asset. The last player we spent a considerable fee on, Davis Keeler-Dunn, who were about 750 grand, we've just sold him for millions. So go and invest in good players, funnily enough. You'll make, obviously, the return on Ray's Cleary. If we sold Ray's Cleary for 3 million, it'd be massive compared to what on DKD, but I don't understand it. Like, if you go and invest money...
though. The clue is in the name. They're investors. So you invest first and then take money later. But they're doing the investing. They're not doing any investing. So they're not making the club that they purchased, they're not making it any more valuable by not investing. And they keep doing the same thing. They think they can spreadsheet the way out of it by getting... The last 3 players we bought have all been from under 21 clubs, under 21s, and then free signings and loans. That is not going to get you promoted. I'm sorry. Just look at the other teams in the league. I mean, even Stevenage are getting better strikers than we've got.
I personally don't mind the spreadsheet because we've moved away from it for the last few years, and apparently it's just come back. And now we've got Patrick Cleary and Reyes Cleary, which are 2 players that we've not signed that sort of cohort of players for a few seasons now. I don't mind the spreadsheet coming back, but it has to be used. I mean, whoever's been using it needs to take the filter off that's been ticked saying must have played for Barnsley previously. Untick that.
I was thinking Sam Winner call,
I think that the spreadsheet's been around for a long time, and you've got to remember, I mean, we picked up people like Hellick, Anderson, Kitchen, who've made us, plenty of money. Bobby Thomas, who, nearly helped us get promoted. And I mean, they were all coming off a data-driven approach to recruitment. So I'm not sure.
For every good one, there's a failure as well.
I think it's a bit of a red herring. Is that I think it's far more to do with lack of investment in the club, full stop. And events have taken over in the sense that running a football club is a hell of a lot more expensive than it was 3 years ago. And I'm not protecting the board in any shape or form, because I do not understand why they're presiding over a failing business. And being prepared to put more money into a failing business that's basically got no assets or chance assets in the case of, say, Cleary. Sorry, not McCleary, Cleary. But I mean, they don't own the stadium, they don't own the training ground, they don't own the turnstiles, they don't own anything. So
They don't taunt us either.
I'm a complete loss as to why they're even doing it. And when they did say at the fans forum, or Nirav said at the fans forum that 15 clubs in division in the third tier were up for sale, I immediately thought, I'll bet we're one of them.
I hope we are.
But then
we'd have heard something. We'd have heard something if that were the case, and we hadn't.
I'd feel like if we were, we wouldn't have done the fans forum, just because
I think there's enough people that'd be interested in buying us that would have heard something, or there'd be a millionaire in Barnsley who would have been contacted by somebody saying, "Do you fancy buying Barnsley?" And then it'd have come through grapevine that way. But
maybe
it's the only way I can see that us as fans are going to get a better experience as if they go. And like I say, I want to thank them for their effort and everything and stuff like that, but it's just not good enough. You give it a go, but I don't know. We're talking to a mate the other day, and he said millionaires just want a football club just so they can brag to their mates, and that's what I feel like we've become. We've become just a club with the club. Oh yeah, I mean, none of them are from Barnsley. None of the major shareholders are from Barnsley. It's just I don't know. I don't get why they've bought something and they're not wanting to make it better. They're wanting the fans in, but they're not willing to do anything, give anything back.
I think the writing up were on the wall in the summer, and the one of them that I will stick up for a bit is as Julianne, because she's taken a lot of abuse that's so unwarranted. It's ridiculous. So she's taken a step back from that, and I don't blame her. But we also, maybe you call it penny pinching, maybe you won't. Maybe you think it's a good move. We got rid of the women's team, which I thought was quite disgraceful personally, because we used to go and watch them. I think it was quite disgraceful. And we got some good players, and to save money, and I understand that it were going to cost more money about, where we could play and couldn't play. It were going to cost some more money, but, other clubs are investing in bringing, girls into watching the full team, the first team, if you like, and cutting that. And I understand it wasn't a unanimous decision. That had made it because she put a lot of time and effort into achieving that, and I think it were a bit of a kick in teeth for her, plus getting loads of abuse. I think I'd take a step back. I'd think, oh, do you know what? Yeah, do what you want. I'm getting all we talk, because all I'm getting is abuse, and you're not listening. So I'll take a step back. And I think that said it all this summer, and it's gradually, bit and bit, coming into fruition that we're going further and further down over the season. We haven't. My personal view is we're cutting players. We're cutting corners. We're cutting things. There was stuff about Liverpool and could we get more tickets, but we couldn't. We couldn't run the risk of having to pay for tickets that we couldn't then sell. So we got 6,000. We couldn't get more tickets because we might not have been able to sell them. So we'd have had to carry that loss at the same time as having to lay people off. To me, that's very clearly a club that's panicking about how much money they've got or how much money they ain't got. And I think maybe the time has come that members of our board just think, do you know what, I'll give it my best go. And, I want success, but we ain't got it, and I can't afford to get us there. Can't afford it. So maybe I ought to do the right thing for the town and the club itself, and see if there's somebody else that wants to have a go. Well, you also got to be careful what you wish for, because we don't want a Chancery.
No, but
or an Oyston or a flipping Die Young. We don't want any of that, because although if we got a Die Young, it would boost the sales of tennis balls.
Hey, Mike Ashley's looking, isn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think the prospects for them, if I was sat in their situation, the prospects of averting this downward spiral are not good at all. No. Because as Josh says, we haven't layered anything. All right, you could argue one, Lennon, maybe. I don't know. None of us have seen him, so I don't know. But then you've got, I mean, I don't know how many were in the stadium last night,
Not that many.
But I would guess it was absolute maximum of 6,000.
I think
In
I can answer
stadium.
that. It's 8,800.
No,
which
it wasn't.
No, it
is
wasn't.
this is what Leon Wobskull said.
Is that
8,800.
including the staff, the players, the stewards,
8,800
snap van vendors,
was what Leon
people who live on
Wobskull
the street?
said it was, and it is the lowest attendance since we played Brighton back in 2013.
Well,
Season
I
ticket
don't.
holders are counted, and they weren't there.
Yep.
I know of at least 6 season ticket holders, not because they're packed in, but because they couldn't get there, or 6 tickets that couldn't get there. So I know of that. So.
I judging by the crowds that we get for the early part of cup competitions and stuff. Honestly, I would say 6,000 was the maximum people that were in there, which probably means 2,000 season ticket holders didn't bother. And that's what I mean, because if that's indicative of where we're at now, and there's nothing particularly to motivate or excite the fan base coming up, and there isn't really, because we're not going to get promoted, let's be fair.
It's a relegation battle, though.
Sorry?
A relegation battle. We love a...
We might win that, yeah.
Might not.
6 pointer against Port Vale coming up.
They beat us 6-0 last time we played them.
I mean, the only way we can actually spend any money, and I mean, I'm talking about wages here, in the summer, is season ticket sales. Well, they're going to just drop through the floor. So looking at it as a board member, let's say, I don't see where the prospects are of this ever getting any better. So why keep it if you can get rid of it? There must be some people in the world somewhere who can see the potential of this football club.
I mean, I have the watch, Kes. You know, you should watch that and think, I want to buy that Barnsley Football Club, you know.
Get your thoughts on the transfer window down in the comments below. Love to hear all your thoughts on it, and give it a rating out of 10. We'll see if you can go lower than. See if you go
No
lower than
minuses. You can't go minus.
Yeah, you
Lower
can't.
than 1.
Yeah, you can't go minus. That is the one thing. So
That's not a real number. It's not a number, is it? -1.
Right, reflects.
Do you want to segue, Josh? Do you want to segue? It shows you how bad it was that last night, how bad it is in the striker, that we finished up having to play Jorgen Nathan as the second striker.
Where's the segue?
Last night.
Talked about last night's match.
Oh, right, okay. There we were. I mean, better.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Craig.
It's tenuous. Deemer confuses me, I could see.
But he's
Yeah, but I mean,
he's old. He's old.
So 2-2 draw last night, Craig. Started poor, and I didn't think that were great, but then built into the game, got ourselves back in front, 2-1 up. Seemed like we could have scored 3, 4, 5 at one point, and then got in front and got pegged back again. I mean, Northampton did chuck about 7 strikers at their problem situation, and Penders back themselves, which fair play to Kevin Nolan for trying that. But it just seemed like one of those games towards the end where it were like a heavyweight boxing match, and we're just swinging with his eyes closed, both sides.
Yeah, that is probably a really good analogy for what it was like. It was like a basketball game. If I'm, the players were reacting more to the fans than what they were to their own manager. You know, you could see the players as soon as they received the balls, the fans were like, lump it up, and they'd do it. And we lost complete control of the game, and it turned into a tit for tat game of tennis. Horrible, like I say, it was horrible to watch. I didn't enjoy it. Somebody who was technically minded and likes to see a team dominate with the ball, some nice passes, some good touches, and work, you know, and stuff like that. It was just a horrible game to watch. Horrible weather, and 22 shots we had, and only 5 on target. Jorgen Nathan must have been half of them. You know, Bradshaw must not have got in the registration in time.
Fax machine.
We had 5 midfielders on pitch, right, and 4 of them were under 21. You know, we had no control of the game. I thought we should have won, but I set Andy my prediction before the game, and I put 2-2.
I know. I'm not
And I
mentioning
put
it. I'm not bringing
2-2
it up.
because I know that we can't keep a clean sheet. I know that we cannot stop goals from going in our net because we can't defend at all. We are ridiculous. The thing that annoyed me about the transfer window most was not getting a defensive midfielder in, somebody that can win a ball. Because at the minute, we've got nobody that can do that job. And it's going to be horrific at the weekend. But back to the game, Cleary's error he passed it straight to him. I don't know who we were trying to pass it to. So his error led to McGeehan passing it to the guy who scored. McGoldrick got a toe on that cross for it to go in. Phillips come on for Yoga Nathan and ended up with one of his first touches being.
It was his first touch.
Yeah, because I was screaming at halftime, like, just get Yoga Nathan off. He's not doing well. And then for their equaliser, goal scrambling area, which we tend to concede from all the time because we can't defend. So Banks looked good. Cleary couldn't get going. I just wish that our fans would not be screaming for us players to run forward every chance they get, because we've got no chance of controlling the game if we just keep lumping it forward as fast as we can. And it's lucky that we actually had 4 under 21s on pitch, because they got energy to do it. But no, it was a ludicrous game, and it wasn't fun for me to watch.
It did seem, Dean, like from sort of about 20 minutes in, we built into the game after a pretty poor start, and from the second period, that first half, really dominated and should really have gone into half time in front, especially when Yoga Nathan went through 1-on-1 as well. That was sort of the real opportunity and chance at the half in which we did have, but in that, I just feel like we seem to run out of steam. And the one thing that I did take away from that is the lack of subs, which Connor made, given that quite a few of them players have played 90 minutes against Stevenage at the weekend. And then again, sort of Cleary faded out the game in that second half. I feel like Banks weren't used as much in that second half as he was in the first as well. So it seemed like we were just crying out for someone to come on, and especially given that we signed 2 wingers in this transferring as well, you would have thought one of them would have come on to at least give us something different and some energy on both them flanks.
Yeah, it was blatantly obvious that. One thing Yoga Nathan did do is bring some energy. Yes, he missed a stack load of really good chances, but he did, and once he'd gone off, that energy that he brought had gone, and the rest of them just looked leggy, partly because they've been playing, Kelly playing a box-to-box midfield player, which he is doing just at the moment. He's making a lot of long, quick sprinting runs. Eventually it's going to catch up with him, and the same with Cleary. And Banks hasn't played enough football, really, to be playing 2 games of 90 minutes in 4 days, as I've said before. So, yeah, we sort of looked tired and leggy. And I think one of the reasons for that is there may be some mental tiredness that's driving it, I don't know. But one of the things is that we are very frenetic when we're attacking. We're trying to... Either we do play it long, or we're trying to play at 100 miles an hour with very little control a lot of the time. And eventually you can't do that for 90 minutes. You've got to control the ball, keep possession, wear the opposition out a little bit. Because for all we look great, and I think we did actually look quite good, certainly, maybe not great, but that 30 minutes after the first 15 minutes, I thought we looked excellent, and I thought we were going to rip them to pieces. And with a bit more composure from Kelly, Yoga Nathan, and somebody having the wit to get on the end of McGoldrick's brilliant cross, we could have been completely out of sight. But yeah, we did fade, and I don't know. is this going to be a feature of playing Saturday, Tuesday? When sometimes, adversity sucks your energy, doesn't it? So if you're going to concede after 1 minute or 2 minutes, as the case may be, it's and then concede again. Are you going to be able to keep it going? I mean, if only we could keep a clean sheet and just exercise some control. I do think we missed Connell badly. That's another story, of course, but we did miss him in midfield because he does bring more control. I mean, Bland can't wait. I don't think Bland had a particularly bad game, but he can't wait to get rid of the ball. As fast as he can. And I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to set the hair running, as it were. But sometimes you need to just play a 5-yard pass, or you need to, just keep the ball a little bit. And I'm not talking about keep the ball between the centre backs, but yeah, I do fear for this period coming up. I really do.
The one thing we've not mentioned, Andy, and I feel like we've saved it especially for you, is Corey
Yes.
O'Keefe made a marauding run with 10 minutes left, and in my opinion, got fouled 3 times on his way to being bundled over in the box, and the referee waved it off. And then Patrick Kelly again got shoved in the back as about to shoot, and nothing given for that. The referee yesterday were a bit questionable, then let's say.
Well, I'll put it this way. I think, in my opinion, Northampton were the worst team that's come to Oakwell this season. I thought they were rubbish. If only we'd got a goal scorer, we'd have got 5 in first half. If only we'd got somebody who could score goals. But we aren't now. We aren't. We finish up having to play poor Jorgen Nathan,
Don't
who's
you
not a
slag off David
striker.
McGoldrick. He's got 5 in 4 at the minute. He's
I'm not
flying.
slagging off David McGoldrick. I'm not slagging him off. But you can only be in one place at once when you're 58. 58. 38. When it's 58.
He'll feel like 58 after running all of that game yesterday.
If flipping well, and if you've got wingers who are dead on the feet and not unreasonably dead on the feet after about, I don't know, I'm going to say 70 minutes. It could have been a bit after that or a bit before that. And you can't do out about it. It's tough. Keep going. We go 2-1 up and then we stop playing. We suddenly, from being the worst side I've seen at Oakwell, and we should have had a bag full, Craig says 22 shots, none on target. What we need to do, I'll come on to ref, don't panic. What we need to do is get some shooting practice in and stick a dummy online near side, because so many shots, particularly in the Ponty end side, there's so many shots went straight at the goalkeeper. They were not quite pass backs, but they're along the floor and they're straight at the goalkeeper. Get them practicing shooting so it's not at the goalkeeper. That's where the goalkeeper's going to be. So put a dummy there and shoot, but not there. Shoot somewhere else. Right. So that's that. And we had a clown as a referee, an absolute clown. Their number 27, and I've forgotten his flipping name. If somebody looked at him, he went down like a good one. Blew for a free kick. We didn't get much. We could have, there were some right tackles going in, and they're all right. This is what they're supposed to do. No fouls given. In midfield, all over the place, no fouls given. Look at them funny. For both teams, it were poor for both teams, but especially poor for us. There were, to my recollection, there might have been more, but to my recollection, there were 3 occasions, 1 for them and 2 for us, when there were a foul, but we played on, and both teams were in better positions going forward with the advantage. And seeing that, he then blew his flipping whistle and called it back. Now that to me, as incompetence. If a club's going forward, having been found going forward, and they had it as well, going forward in space and going forward with purpose, to then blow your whistle and pull it all back, and then start acting daft because they take the free kick about 2 yards away from where it was supposed to be taken, in his view, is just barking mad. So I weren't impressed. And then I wish Corey O'Keefe would not go down so theatrically. I wish he don't need to go down theatrically, because he's not going to get a penalty. He can go down as many times as he wants at penalty area. They're not going to get a penalty against him, because I don't know if the referees union have decided that he's all diving. Then book him. If you think he's diving, book him. He didn't dive. He's getting pushed, and it were a penalty. It were a clear penalty, but not giddy. He's waving his hands about. Play on, play on. What a joke! And then Kelly, what a lovely piece of football. And he's through. He's cocking his leg, bundled over, pushed, bundled over. Play on. And the soddenness of it is that they clear the ball, their player goes down when somebody looks at him funny, then gives a free kick. And they wonder why crowds get rattled at referees and say, you know, you're not fit to referee, not to wear the shirt, although there was some of that to know. You're not fit to referee. And they wonder why. It's not just poor, it's utter, in my personal view, it's incompetence. And they shouldn't be refereeing if that's the level of what they can see and what they can't see. I wear glasses to read because I go to Specsavers. There's other places you can go as well, not just Specsavers, Vision Express and a few others. There's other opticians available. I would say to that referee, get to one room because your performance last night was rubbish. I remember when I was younger in West End, upstairs at West End, when East End what Brewery End, there were a guy sat in front, not to one side of us, never saw him, but just once a game, he'd shout out at top of his voice, "You rubbish referee." Well, I tell you what, I feel like picking up that mantle and every single game shouting at top of my voice, "You rubbish referee," and I'd be right, and I was certainly right last night. Rubbish. I'm all right now.
Oh, good. Glad you're feeling
He
better.
lost us that game. Apart from we couldn't score goals, we didn't have a goal scorer. He lost us that game and all. We'd have probably missed penalty, but
I think there was one point
for him.
when I think we cleared a corner, Adam Phillips beat a man and then got cleared out and he just waved it away. And I was like, all right, we'll just not bother them with free kicks today.
Yeah. Unless you're going to tip a lot because somebody looks at you funny. Then number 27, Bambi on ice. And he looked a good player, but he were going down all up. And there were a couple of times when we had, I think it was either free kicks or corners, I think, where he had his whistle in his mouth, and as soon as it goes, it's blowing. It's a foul. It's a foul foot defence. And I just think, can you see? Or are you just making it up? Somebody's in here saying, right, you ain't get a free kick for 30 seconds. You need to give one. Shocking. I'm only doing all this because there've been people commenting saying, can't wait for him to say what he's going to say about referees. So I'm just pandering to my audience. That's all I'm doing.
Just keeping the fans on side.
I'm only pandering.
Keeping the fans on side. That's what we want to see.
Should have this segment, Ref Watch.
Yeah.
We haven't got long enough. Craig. We just need a show called Ref Watch, Craig. Yeah. Me and thee, Craig, for an hour, Craig.
Get your thoughts on Tuesday's game down in the comments below. I just thought it was a really weird game. I feel like we kind of played well, but at the same time, I knew something was going to happen. It was a really weird fixture for me. Right, looking forward then to the weekend, and we make the trip over to Bolton, and he's not here, but I'll say it for him, the Tough Sheet Stadium, because Al would have loved that, and he'd have got it in at every opportunity to have mentioned the Tough Sheet. Craig, how do you feel for this one? Because Bolton recently they've been flying. I mean, when we played in the first half of the season, I thought we played really well until Jürgen Nathan got sent off and did well to dig in that game. And Bolton seemed to have a really slow start, but sort of back end of last year really kicked on. Sat third at the minute. I think 6 points off Lincoln.
Yeah, I think the guy that I were all waxing lyrical about it last video that we did about Bolton, well, Cozier Dewsbury. I said, watch him this season. I think he's up there. I think he's either the top or second with best goals and assists combined in the league. So in their team certainly. Mason Burstow's their top striker.
Yeah.
4-2-3-1's what they've been playing, similar to what we've been playing. They've only conceded 27 goals this season, which is in line with Stevenage, who we just helped get them there. So. They've got the second highest average possession in the league, so they like to keep on at ball, and they've got the highest XG in the league, which means they can create lots of quality chances, which is something I really don't want to hear at this moment in time.
Did they get 22 shots on target though last match? No.
I bet they had a lot less, but I bet they scored a lot more. But
I've got one.
now
Scored one.
they've won 4 of the last 5. But I'll throw in a couple of positives in there for us. We haven't lost in 4 to them. We've won 3 of them. And that's end up positives.
We haven't lost to Rotherham in centuries. Centuries. But it went.
Feels like
Well, I know
record
this will
days of
surprise
break.
you. This will surprise you because I haven't mentioned it yet. I've done an away end with Ben from the Fans Up
away
podcast
end?
at Bolton. I've done an away end before we did this one. It'll come
We're
out at
about
tea
an hour
time.
in, and
Nice, you haven't mentioned it yet.
I know, I've done
About
well.
an
I
hour
thought
in.
It's
it'll
not
come
going to be
up.
the first few sentences.
I'll mention it again before we finish.
Huh.
And Ben says that they've been playing exactly the formation that you've said, Craig, and it's not worked. And they went to a back 3 with wing backs, and it's worked a lot better. But the one of the matches that they have lost recently is they went back to a back 4, and the 2 and the 3 and the 1 and what have you. So we're not sure how they're going to line up, but it may well be that they've gone to a back, to wing backs and a back 3 with centre halves and what have you. So who knows? He also tells me, and this is with the how many goals they've conceded or whatever, that at home, oh dear God, at home they've only lost 1 match at home, and according to Ben, they've only conceded 9 goals at home. And we've sold our top striker. I don't know if you know that. So it's looking a bit bleak. But he also says, on a positive note, that they've not been scoring that many. They've been desperate to sign a striker. So, but now they've got McAtee playing, and they got that. He's good on his debut at the weekend. They got Corey Blackett Taylor, who made his name on Saturday and scored on loan from Derby, and he scored. So he's going to become a fan favourite, a tricky player and what have you. So Josh Shearer's unlikely to play because I think he's still injured after Stevenage has Dan Phillips done him on his calves. So whether he'll play or not, but they've got Dempsey playing in that position, and I've always liked Kyle Dempsey, but I don't know what he's like a centre midfield. But so they've got a few choices. They've got Dalby up front who has scored a number of goals and all. He's doing well. So who knows? Who knows? It's not looking great.
No, it's not.
Not looking positive.
But I mean, a couple of positives, Dean, is the fact that they don't seem to really blow teams away. Such as Craig said, a really good defence. I think, if I'm right in saying, they've got the joint strongest defence now alongside Stevenage, conceding 27.
Yeah.
But in terms of blowing teams away, I think they beat Port Vale 4-0. But apart from that, and Wigan 4-1 and 3-0, like those 3 results aside, they only win 1-0, 2-1. Like it's almost those results where they're just not killing teams off as such.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at sort of transfer window as well, and I think that's indicative of the fact that they've brought 4 attacking players in. I'm not sure exactly what positions they play. Kenny from Celtic, yeah. Blackett Taylor, obviously, that Andy's mentioned. Ruben Rodriguez, who's an interesting player, and has scored lots and lots of goals in the EFL for sure. And then
I hope he's Clem's brother.
yeah. And then the lad Apter from Charlton, who I think is a wide player. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't, but
I think so.
I mean,
he's a right winger.
Yeah,
John Joe Ken is a striker at Celtic. Yeah. So they've got basically all 4 positions covered: left wing, right wings, been behind striker.
Yeah. And Burstow, McAtee. I mean, they've let Big Vic go, of course, which is
why couldn't they just have
massive.
Said he were rubbish.
And Bradshaw,
Yeah.
Get Big Vic back.
So I mean, we always seem to raise our game a little bit at Bolton.
Their famous last words.
Well, I know. I was trying to work it out, really, because even when they've been in form, we've usually manage to pull some kind of result out. I mean, we played them loads, didn't we, over the last, or we have done over the last 3 or 4 years. And apart from us thumping them at the end of last season, courtesy of Fabio Giallo, they've all been pretty close games. And I think, if there's 20, 21,000 in there, which they seem to be comfortably getting at the moment, if they're accurate figures, then I'm wondering if our players get sort of hyped up a little bit by a bigger crowd with a lot more noise going on. I don't know, but no, they don't seem to have got that many good wins. They've just got wins, and that's sent them up the table. I mean, I think Schumacher's a good manager. I mean, I think he seems to command a lot of respect from the players, which maybe Ian Evatt didn't at times. And they've got good players all over the pitch. Simon's a good player. I think they've let one or two go though, haven't they? They've let Randall go. Morley's gone. I can't remember who else, but yeah, somebody to stop.
Watch the away end when it goes up. It says them all.
Is it David Copley? I think the right back's gone to Stockport. So yeah, I mean, there's been a bit of a turnover there, but they look to me by who they've signed. They also signed two goalkeepers. Is that correct, Andy? You're aware?
It is. They had two on loan goalkeepers who were both gone, so they had to get two in. But yes, they are. Watch the away end, and you'll see. All will be revealed.
I'll watch it. Oh, what time's it on, Andy? Tomorrow.
It'll be on it. Tune in on BBC One at 3:00. No, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock tomorrow. BBC.
Is that
One,
3, 8, or
2,
5?
not BBC One. Might be on BBC Two. I've not got to BBC One yet.
All right. Okay.
5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect a hammer in there. I'm not too confident.
Joe, what? Since you said that, let's go to your prediction then, Dean.
2-2.
2-2. Andy?
Well, Ben on their show said 2-0 to them. He was quietly confident that it was going to be 2-0 to them. And obviously I argued toss with him. And no, I didn't. I agreed with him. 2-0, and I think I'm being positive.
2-0 to Bolton. Craig?
4-0.
4-0 to them.
Craig's been doing well lately with He's been doing well with predictions lately, Craig. He's been doing really well, so dear God. I'm hoping Craig was going to say 4-0 to us.
I'm looking at positives of because Dewberry's out until April.
Wait, so Blackie Taylor's coming.
That's all right. He's not Kazir Dewberry. Don't worry about that. Tonight Watson back pocket. See you later. He might as well not bother playing.
Sheehan will be
tonight. Watson will be playing left back, not right back.
So that's all right then.
We'll have Corey O'Keefe at right back. Who's always up pitch.
Even better. So, no chance of him doing out then. I'm gonna go. They just don't blow teams away, so I'm gonna go 1-0 to Bolton. I think there's just I don't see us scoring because David. In fact, no one's mentioned yet. Shout out to the amount of ground that David McGoldrick covered yesterday. By the way, that he must have done at least 15k yesterday on that.
He definitely went in an ice bath after he finished that shift.
Yeah, that were unbelievable.
He was really determined to lead by example as captain. Yeah. I mean, he's our 6th captain this season. To go with the 8 left backs we've had.
Oh, we did goalkeepers last season. We had loads of them. So
don't worry, we'll get round to you. Get round to you sometime soon. Don't worry, Dean. You'll be captain soon.
Right, we'll be back on Sunday with our reaction to the Bolton game and previewing Stevenage, which feels like I'm just going back from last week from what we're previewing as well. So, yes, we're back on Sunday morning with our reaction show. We'll see you there. You Reds.